All right, HBCU Legends fans, it's Coyote Mosley, and happy holidays to you and your family. It's December 23rd. Been on hiatus. No, I didn't catch the itis after Thanksgiving. But we're going into Christmas, guys, and we got a lot to talk about when it comes to HBCU football, HBCU basketball. It's just a lot going on before the new year rings in, as well as bringing in ho, 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 happy tidings to all of everyone's families as well. All right, guys, go to hbclegends.net. Follow us on our SI website, and you can be able to follow us at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as at KTMOZE on all social media platforms as well. All right, guys, thank you for joining on this holiday special show. We're going to be brief today. We don't have a lot to talk about. No, we do have a lot to talk about. First of all, congratulations to South Carolina State, Coach Chennis Berry, and the Bulldogs defeated Prairie View A&M 40-38 in what, in my opinion, is the best Celebration Bowl ever. No, a lot of people believe that the Jackson State NCCU overtime spectacular was one to remember, but this one also, with their 4 overtimes, was a classic in the making. Just from the onset, to have 2 Division II coaches who have risen through the ranks to Division I football to play in the HBCU National Championship game in Atlanta and bring home a classic. Congratulations, Chindisberry. We know last year how disappointing the loss was to Jackson State University, and now he and the Bulldogs have righted the wrong, and now they're the national champions. Can't say enough accolades about Coach Chennis Berry, and a lot of people overlooked him. And I wrote about this, how I know personally how ADs overlooked him and said some really negative things about him just 3 seasons ago when he just completed his first run at the HBCU Division II National Championship with Benedict. And coaches needed, well, some of these ADs needed coaches who could come in and turn a program around, and a few of these guys did not believe that. One called him a glorified preacher. The other one said he was doing pretty well for a small college coach. Then I heard one coach call him just he's just a little bit above a high school coach. It's just lunacy. If he did not have a chance to be able to meet, speak, get to know what he's about, to see what his programs were about. Chindisberry was about the business of football, and he's proven it. 2 HBCU Division II national championships, now a Division I HBCU national championship. That's a Hall of Fame resume. That's a legendary resume. Coach Chennis Berry, HBCU legend. And in my opinion, between he, Tremaine Jackson, as well as DeSean Jackson, those 3 are top 4 HBCU Legends Coaches of the Year. We're going to have our final determination, in our opinion, who's the Coach of the Year going into the final week of the season, final week of this year. I'm going to have that published. But guys, Coach Chennis Berry, you have done a tremendous job. I appreciate The two things I appreciate by Coach Chennis Berry and Tremaine Jackson, especially this season, they were the two coaches that gave HBCU Legends access this season, but they always returned a text and a phone call. We had one HBCU national championship coach scheduled to be able to talk, two this past year, scheduled to talk to us, pulled out last minute and never, ever made an attempt to reschedule. And you lost. Both of y'all lost. And I'm kind of salty about that one because I can see if we didn't have anything scheduled on the books, and these appointments are scheduled weeks ahead of time. That's what got me. And matter of fact, one SID contacted me to be able to schedule the interview, and throughout the whole season, they never got back. So I applaud Tremaine Jackson as well as Chennis Berry to have the integrity to stand up and be able to give us access, be able to report on both of their programs, and to be able to just be men about it. I appreciate that. All right. So that's the first thing. Tremaine Jackson, guys, I don't care what you say. Gonna have to look out what's going to happen at Prairie View A&M. Next season, a lot of people say, oh, that's sophomore season. Things usually go down. Well, it was a sophomore season for Coach Chennis Berry. People didn't think they were going to win the MEAC. Think about this. Chennis Berry is undefeated since the 2022 season over at Benedict College. He has never lost a conference game, and he's 2-2 against the SWAC. Coach Tremaine Jackson lost to Alabama State. That's one loss in conference play. Then they lost again. Well, they lost to, that's the only conference loss they have. So basically, you look at guys who have turned that programs around. Chindisberry last year turned that South Carolina State program around after Buddy Pugh's retirement. Tremaine Jackson, Anton Goff brought him in to be able to turn the program around. He did just that. They were a field goal away from winning. 2 field goals away from winning. DeSean Jackson turned that program around. That's why these guys are considered for HBCU Coach of the Year. Who had the biggest impact? And we can't leave out Eddie Robinson Jr., 10-win season. 2 starting quarterbacks this year. Last year he had 5. But 2 starting quarterbacks, and now Andrew Body is going to greener pastures, so to speak. So we'll talk about that as well. So congratulations to Chennis Berry, Tremaine Jackson, DeSean Jackson. Great seasons. And Eddie Robinson. Great seasons. As well as T.C. Taylor. Great seasons. Okay. There's a new coach on the highest of the 7 hills in Florida. It's the 20th head football coach of the program. And that's none other than Mr. Quinn Fordham Gray Sr. He's coming back home. The former quarterback who went on to make his name for himself, set up his own return after leading Albany State this season to a HBCU Division II national championship. Albany State University had 12 wins. They went into the playoffs. They won one game, lost the quarterfinals. But congratulations, Quinn Gray. Congratulations to what you guys have been able to do. And I know the Rattlers faithful are very excited about the fact to have one of their own returning home and being able to steer the Rattlers in the direction that they feel is going to be best suited for them. Coach, that doesn't mean Coach Cozy wasn't a good coach. It doesn't mean that he didn't have good players and good talent and good everything else. You just have a feeling that Quinn Gray, especially being someone with Rattler in his blood, is going to do a tremendous job with those guys. Now, if you guys expect this to happen year one, why not? You look at what's happening across the board. Year one guys like Tremaine Jackson this year. Last year was Chindisberry. Then you have DeSean Jackson this year. Year one guys can turn around a program and do well. So do I anticipate Quinn Gray to do well? Of course. Of course. I do. So how well? We'll see. I'm not giving any predictions, but it's going to be great to see for Quinn Gray. But guys, look, we got some openings that were created. We got some that need to be refilled. And let's talk about another opening. Of course, Southern University. They have Marshall Falk. Marshall Falk is starting to line up his staff. And you can see how well he's doing with the selections from his offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, assistant head coach, which is C.J. Johnson. So all these guys are doing very, very well in lining out their staffs there. Then we just had the announcement that Thomas Howard, a Morehouse man, my Morehouse brother. I think my Morehouse people in the AD department, they slept on Thomas Howard. Congratulations, Thomas Howard. He's now the new head football coach at Savannah State. Van Malone takes over the reins over at Hampton University. NFL guy, some training as well as in the FBS. He was the defensive coordinator for Kansas State. So he's taken over at Hampton. And you have Torrey Woodbury, who is a Winston-Salem Ram by blood. He comes back home and he's going to take over his program there at Winston-Salem State. Then you have Joel Taylor, who was former South Carolina State guy. He is going to go and take that Mercer program over again. I think he was head coach at one time for those guys as well. He's going to be back in that position. So you still have openings over at Clark Atlanta, who mysteriously parted ways with Teddy Keaton. There's a lot of inaccuracy or inconsistency in some of the reports. Some people say the report is that there was some internal misappropriation of, well, no, I will say it like this. There was some internal misreports that should have been reported about relationships. Then there was some reports against the coach himself. We don't know what's what and probably won't ever know the full story. But Teddy Keaton is a good coach, good head coach. Where will he land? Right? We still have that position over in Albany State that Quinn Gray left. That's open. He can walk across the street, so to speak. Morehouse College still has their position open as well. So there are opportunities there. Bowie State still open. Langston still open. Somebody of Coach Keaton's ilk would be great to have in those positions. And of course, Clark Atlanta is still open. I think off script, somebody had a rumor that the defensive coordinator from Jackson State is interested in the Clark Atlanta position, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. And if he's able to be the one to get that job over there, that'll be very interesting. He's a very passionate guy. We talked about Terrenzo Quinn. He's one of the top candidates, so to speak, they said, for that particular position. I think it's time. I think Morehouse needed to look at him. I had him on the list for Morehouse to consider him as a potential candidate. I heard from a couple other guys saying they are interested in the Morehouse position. Send your resume to Harold Ellis, the AD. Yeah. So, we'll see how things go, guys. And I want to be able to help anybody out who's interested in possibly taking that Morehouse position, because I believe I heard from an executive, right? And one of the execs said it was a TV exec, right? And he said there are two brands that they recognize. And I was kind of curious. It's not a black exec. It's a Caucasian. He said they recognize Grambling State and Morehouse. I said, you mean Jackson State? No? You mean Florida A&M? No? You must mean Howard. No? It was Morehouse. Those are two brand names. Man, that will be very interesting to see how someone can really take that to the next level. Okay. All right, guys. And let's talk about what's happening out there right now with HBCU women's basketball. Southern University. They are knocking off FBS. I don't know if you want to call them FBS in the, they're Division I non-conference opponents. That's the best way to say it. Left and right. They just defeated the Sooners, Oklahoma Sooners. These ladies are balling, guys. Balling. Yes, all wrong. Carlos Funches, Coach Funches, has the Lady Jaguars just upsetting people left and right. So they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough when it comes to the SWAC play. Of course, they have won the tournament over the past few years, and last year they won and went to the NCAA tournament, and I think they played UCLA pretty hard up until they kind of let the game get away from them in the end. But man, Southern University, Lady Jaguars, congratulations. Another team that's had a couple of upsets was Howard University as well. Those ladies have played very, very well this non-conference season. So we know after the 1st of January, all the conference games are going to start in the MEAC as well as in the SIAC as well as the CIAA and the SWAC. So we're going to have a lot of competition. You're going to see 20 games from HBCU Go. That's going to be nationally broadcast. If you want to see some of the SWAC games, you're going to have to go to the SWAC app. So download that as well. And some of the schools are going to have their own productions. So you're going to have to go to those productions directly. So just download the calendars of your favorite schools, check out what's happening, or go to the conferences and check out what's happening so you could be able to be a part of this upcoming season, man. I'm telling you, I am looking forward to it. I know last night I watched Prairie View A&M. The men's basketball team was up by 6 points against LSU at Pete Maravich Arena on LSU's campus, and they were close to winning. They had a 10-point lead in the second half, and things went off the rails after a whole bunch of fouls were against them. The momentum just suddenly shifted when they disqualified their point guard Williams from the game. Then all of a sudden, their top scorer, he went down and he stopped scoring after he was hit with a technical foul, and he didn't score for like 7 minutes, and that just turned the tide of the game, and these guys lost. Unfortunate how they lost, when they lost, and how they keep on trying to climb back into position time and time again. But I tell you what, Prairie View played very well. There's a lot of changes. The young man from Grambling State University at the Chris Paul Classic, HBCU Classic that was in Atlanta. Antonio, what's the young man from Grambling, guys? Get that information for me. The young man for Grambling, he just is tearing up. He is tearing everything up. I want to get his name correct for you. So he is somebody to look at. Mr. Rozier is somebody to look at over at Jackson State. You have the young man over at Prairie View. He was the transfer from Southern. He played very well. He was the leading scorer I was talking about. And I just think we have a lot of great talent that is a part of HBCU basketball this season, So, guys, really, Antonio Munoz, that's the guy from Grambling State, Antonio Munoz. The Tigers defeated Hampton. They also defeated Norfolk State in that Chris Paul Classic. And I think he averaged over 22 points per game in that Classic run. So look out for his name. And he's just a freshman. And the way he's been playing, I think he's going to be like Blake Harper was last year for Howard. You're not going to see him for much longer.
Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI, because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that'll change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
I think this kid is about to get some big NIL dollars sent his way after this season. So we will take a look at that. All right, guys, don't forget, go to hbculegends.net and check us out at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as you can check us out online at KTMOZE on all social media platforms. That's me personally as well. Okay. Let's see here. All right, guys. What do you think is going on with Cleveland Browns? Former Jackson State quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He got some pretty significant Pro Bowl votes. I think he finished 10th in the AFC as far as quarterbacks is concerned. He was Rookie of the Week a few weeks ago. Since then, you would like to say, I know people say they're sabotage. Oh, they're sabotaging this guy, you know. I don't know if it's fully sabotage or not, but you can't mistake one thing. As a rookie, with all the obstacles that has been put before him, he's flourished. He's done the best he's able to do with what he's able to do. He doesn't have a true number one wide receiver. He's playing with some backups and some rookies. The offensive line, they only had one person this whole season who has played the whole season on offensive line. Other four starters at the beginning of the season are all injured and out. The left tackle was getting misused and abused against who they were playing, the Bills. Think about it. He kept the Browns close the whole game. That defense kept them in the game. It was 23-20. They lost. And then you have people talking about how Shedeur, they're going to go and draft another quarterback next year. Guys, I mean, I remember Troy Aikman sucked his rookie year. Peyton Manning sucked his rookie year. Drew Brees, when he had an opportunity to come into some games, didn't do that well in San Diego. Everybody who are Hall of Famers and will be Hall of Famers, what makes you guys believe that as a rookie, they're just ready-made, microwaved quarterbacks? It doesn't happen that way. There's got to be some trials, some tribulations, guys. If he's keeping that Browns team and they had a chance to try to win that game, what more are you looking for? Did he make mistakes? Yes, he's a rookie. He made both of those interceptions could have been better passes on his part, and he acknowledged that. But you talking about Bosa, made a fabulous play. Then the other defensive guy tipped the ball to himself, made a fabulous play. Guys, allow someone to develop. We have come to a point, even in HBCU football and HBCU sports, where we do not want to just see a team develop, a coach develop, players develop. We want ready-made. Make it happen now. And if they don't make it happen now, something's wrong with them. Guys, you got to stop this. Got to get away from this. Coach Cozy only had 2 seasons. Oh, get rid of him. Get him out of here. He's no good. Eric Dooley, a few years ago, he brought 2 teams back-to-back SWAC championships. Southern University, middle of the 2nd season, get him out of here. Are you going to do the same thing with Marshall Falk? Should Falk and his guys don't immediately bring home wins? What's going to happen? All right, congratulations, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, 19 seasons as a head coach, 19 seasons without a losing season as a head coach. Remarkable. Florida A&M alumnus Pam Oliver was inducted into the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Pam. We talk about HBCU blood, and she's been on the sidelines. I remember a couple seasons ago, she was going through some medical situations. People were, something's wrong with Pam Oliver. Get her off the air. She doesn't need to be on the air. Get her off. You know what's funny? All you guys who sit around and ask for people to get off the air, get fired, lose their jobs, if you were in the same position, would you want someone to kick you off and kick you out? Grow up, guys. Come on. All right. And to the family of Greg Biffle. If you guys don't know Greg Biffle, NASCAR driver, Hall of Fame NASCAR driver, he passed away. He and his entire family died in horrific plane crash in North Carolina near their hometown last week. And why is Greg Biffle so significant? Because Greg Biffle drove that Grambling State wrap car, Morehouse, and Florida A&M wrap cars. The first NASCAR driver to do that. He was an advocate for HBCUs. His little son, he was 2 when the first one came out with Grambling State, loved HBCUs. His son, he loved everything about HBCUs, and Greg Biffle loved everything about HBCUs as well. And I know another guy, Denny Hamlin. I interviewed Denny Hamlin personally, and he was a great interview. He is another advocate he was working with FedEx to be able to make some things happen for HBCU. So congratulations to those guys for what they stood for. For Greg Biffle and his family, what they stood for. We're praying for the family, for the loss. It's a tremendous loss across the board from NASCAR to HBCUs. All right, guys, some tremendous performances of the week by freshmen was noted, and Antonio Munoz, the young man from Grambling, he was included in on Paul Bancardi's ESPN's list. So that was significant there. And let's just go over to Marshall Falk's salary here. A lot of people making a lot to do on nothing. They say, $400,000. Well, $400,000 per year. He has significant incentives, including 20% of the raised funds he's able to get on his salary. His salary pool for his assistants is at $950K. And what's really significant also about his salary pool and Quinn's over at Florida A&M, I think they're at $1.2 million for his assistants. That was a pretty significant deal there. Well, I guess I have to also kind of try to understand this. When Willie Simmons was asking for money, Florida A&M couldn't come up with it, and now they got it. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. You couldn't find the money for Willie, but now you got it. And congratulations to Willie Simmons. After his first season at FIU, he did get a contract extension. Oh, and DeSean Jackson just signed a contract extension as well. Congratulations to DeSean Jackson. After one season, these guys are getting their kudos. I wonder if Anton Golf is going to follow suit and trying to get a contract extension for Tremaine Jackson. If he does, if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. We had some great football this HBCU season in 2025. A lot to talk about going forward, of course, but you have to be proud at what we were able to witness, guys. And you guys, think about this. We got a lot of movement that's going to happen in the transfer portal. Andrew Potty, the HBCU Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, he's on the move. He told HBCU Legends, it's time to take it to the next level. He feels his talent is where it's time to go to the next level. I knew it, guys, when we did not see him play in those final 4 games. He was getting healthy, and he could have possibly played in the last 2 games of the season for Alabama State, but they were not going to a postseason game. The FCS selection committee did not even select them for the playoffs, which was odd, in my opinion. So, but you look at Jackson State, Ahmad Miller, their starting running back, he's on the move. Terrell, their dynamic returner specialist, and he's on the move. Dupree's on the move. Reed is on the move. You got a lot of young men who are on the move. Even from Florida A&M, they got some significant players on the move. Guys are going to be on the move because this is the era of NIL, which you should call college free agency. It is what it is now. And people who are upset that people want to leave to be able to better their situation, isn't that why you go to find a new job? To better your situation? Hello? Oh, is this on? You leave to go find a better situation. So why can't people, coaches, players, administrators be mobile in finding new situations as well? I'm just saying. Band of the Year competition, Miles for Division II. They won. And Southern University, the Human Jukebox. Doc, they won. Go on, Doc. I see you. And they had a great show. They had a great show to defeat Florida A&M for that Band of the Year competition, which took place the night before the Celebration Bowl. Now, let's talk about some Celebration Bowl numbers. 2.3 million viewers tuned in. It peaked at 3 million, especially going into those overtime sessions. Here's the demographics people are kind of quiet about. John Grant confirmed this with HBCU Legends. 63% of the viewers were non-Hispanic, white. Let that sit in. 25% were black, 7% Hispanic. A lot of theories. One is the age of the gamblers, or the online gamblers. Two, let's be frank, it was a great football game on a Saturday, and guys and people across the nation who tune into ABC wanted to see a football game, and they got a classic that they looked at. So why aren't the numbers for blacks higher? Out of 2.3 million, we didn't have a full stadium. We only had, 27,000 in the stadium at Mercedes-Benz. So therefore, where were the rest of the blacks? And why weren't we watching the HBCU National Championship? Let that sink in. All right, guys. The Celebration Bowl, they expand their cultural viewership, the demographics, and everything else. There's a lot of movement going on. There's still a lot of unsettled stories going into next season that we're going to talk about over the next couple of months. The HBCU Legacy Bowl will kick off, and we have most of the rosters already set and settled for Team Gaither and Team Robinson. That's going to be the finale of the bowl season, right before the Super Bowl. Oh, no, after Super Bowl. I apologize. But all I have to say is that we have some great football that's going to possibly give us another great season of excitement for 2026. But I also look forward to the 2026 finale of the basketball season as well. And we will report on some of the games from Texas Southern as well as from Prairie View A&M as well this season from HBCU Legends side. Guys, support. Go to some of the games. Sit in the stands. Tune in through the apps. Whatever you need to do to be able to offer some support, do it. Let me tell you why. Urban Edge Network. That's Hardy Pelt, Todd Brown. These guys have put together some tremendous numbers. Now that they have successfully completed over 5,000 live games from the NAIA. Now remember, these guys were being called crooks by some people just a few years ago. Then they sued to try to clear their name and everything. But these guys were being called crooks. Can't be called crooks aligning yourself with the people of the NAIA who vetted them. And these guys produced over 1.2 million for one of the conferences, over 700,000 for another conference. And they got several other conferences that haven't even reported their numbers just this season for their football fans. They had 200,000 looking at the VCCU NCAA game. And last week they had another NCAA game, which had over 182,000. Thousands of people downloaded their apps to be able to watch them play. We talk about owning our own space. We talk about having control of our own space. We don't have to always be tied to mainstream media to be able to have our own space. Support the SWAC app as well. Support the HBCU Go app. Support the Urban Edge Network app. Remember, they still got games from Florida Memorial as well as the HBCU Athletic Conference that's on that app. Congratulations to Curtis Allen from Virginia Union. You are the 2025 Harlan Hill Harlan Hill Award winner, which equates to be the Heisman for the D2 NCAA division. Curtis Allen from Virginia Union had over 2,000 yards rushing, 30 touchdowns this season. Congratulations, young man. All you young men who are preparing for the NFL draft, you'd like to get a chance to get your face out there and have some interviews with us over at HBCU Legends, give me a call. Go to HBCU Legends, or you can DM me at follow and DM, or you can go ahead and send me an email at kmosley@hbcusi.com. Ten wins for South Carolina State, 10 wins for Prairie View University, A&M University, 10 wins for Alabama State, South Carolina State, 9 wins for Jackson State, 8 wins for Delaware State, 8 wins for North Carolina Central. Out of the 21 HBCU FCS programs, these were the most wins in 2025. Congratulations to all of you programs. Again, congratulations to the national champions, the runner-ups, Prairie View, Alabama State, Eddie Robinson, T.C. Taylor, Jackson State, DeSean Jackson, and Trey Oliver from Delaware State and NCCU, respectively. Guys, I hope you have a safe, fun, healthy, and more than that, just be very, very safe out there on the road. If you're drinking, driving, and don't drink and drive. Get an Uber, a Lyft, ride share, get a friend, come get you. All it is a phone call away so you can extend your life. And also, remember, if you're operating a vehicle impaired, you're endangering not only your life, but the lives of others around you. Congratulations to all the coaches who received offers and are starting new jobs, and the ones who are interviewing. Congratulations and good luck to you guys as well. I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. And don't forget, Keisha Kelly of the Black College Experience. She wants to be a coach in some way capacity. Make it happen somewhere out there, and especially with the SIEC. Help out. All right, Keish. All right, I'm Kyle T. Mosley. You guys have a great one, and we'll be back next week before the end of the year to talk about our HBCU sports superlatives at HBCU Legends. Take care. Have a great, 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 great holiday, and be blessed. Take care, guys.